should do it, I think. I don't know if this is me or what, but it's whatever, man. I need to learn how to do this better. I'll do some more research in the future. I know I had it a little down pat earlier, but things have changed over the last few years, so yeah. Put it right there. Okay, everybody, this is gonna be my first ever live streaming that I've ever done for Blender. Now, I know in the past I did a few little attempts of a live stream. Those were just me practicing and talking to people about different stuff, I guess. It was like 3D printing and stuff like that, which this is still kind of part of it, but these streams that I'm gonna start doing on a weekly basis are for me to learn Blender more, so you guys can actually watch as I get involved with Blender and try to learn as fast as possible. I know Blender is always talked about, has a learning curve, and even though 2.8 came out, which I do have it over here, I just don't use it at all yet. Really, I'm just waiting for a more stable version. And I know a lot of people will say something about that, like it is kind of stable, you just have to save it a lot, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, that probably is true, but I'm just going to stick with what I know. So, anyway, if you guys are tuning in, my name is Legit Lee, and I am a 3D designer and 3D, I guess, printer. I have multiple 3D printers on my channel. I've shown how I built them from scratch and things of that nature. And soon I'm going to stop doing so many projects that cost a lot, because I'm trying to do more like learning for program-wise more than building with my hands. So I want to really start saving up for bigger projects that cost more than these little baby ones that I've been doing. So right now I've been working on a project that has to do with Spider-Man's Into the Spideyverse, the new Miles Morales movie that just came out a few months back. And I really like the character. Miles is one of my favorite Spider-Mans, just like Miguel from the year 2099 comics. And I really enjoy Miles because, he's, Spanish, half Spanish, and we don't have a lot of superheroes that are Spanish. No offense to the superhero community. They probably would hang me for saying something like that, but it is kind of true. So I appreciate, the character a lot, and I do love his abilities. He can go invisible, he can taser, shock people, still has the ability to web swing and, have agility and all that good stuff like the normal Spider-Man can have. So this is just like a upgraded version of a Spider-Man. Anyway, I've been designing this part, and this project that I've been working on is actually pretty good. I would say that I'm trying to get things going with accelerometers. What I'm trying to do, which I already kind of done, I just haven't put it out on a video yet, is I'm doing where you can actually use Spider-Man's tasing ability. Since we don't have the ability to make web shooters exactly, I am designing a web shooter that will hold something like this. Let me just grab it really quick. This right here is an accelerometer that you guys can actually, I don't know if the camera's picking up on that or not, that you can actually set up with an Arduino, a little microprocessor, and it would actually be able to, sorry, got some stuff on me, it will actually be able to sense movement. So they use them a lot for phones when you turn your phone over to the side and you see the screen shift. You can actually use them. They have them a lot in phones and drones, so that you know you can fly with a remote control and stuff. So they are relatively available and cheap for the most part, and programming them isn't that hard to do. And I will have like the code and schematic up when I do finish everything off. Right now we're still in beta testing, but basically what I'm doing is sensing the ability to punch. So what I'm doing is when you throw a fist, right? I wanted to make sure at the end of the punch it senses that forward and stop motion, and then it activates a taser that you would have on you. So I wanted to make Miles Morales' whole glove that he has, and on the glove tips you would actually have some connecting coils or some kind of connectors that gives off the closeness to the taser that allows it to tase. I do have a taser already and the code kind of working, but I wanted to start with Blender creating all the parts first. So I originally was trying to do, which I may do in the future, maybe like version 2.0, but I originally had the taser set up to where I was gonna print out a PCB. Kind of. I was gonna actually cut it out and make a flexible PCB using like an Arduino Nano, and I was gonna desolder everything off of the Nano, get everything set up for my tasing board that'll be flexible, that it can be mounted to you. But I'm running into a little bit of issues with that, so I just figured just to get the project out there first, I'll go ahead and do like a main board situation where it's like a regular, you know, Nano like this or any other microprocessors. And so I designed early on already the Miles Morales' whole chest plate, kind of like the symbol of Miles Morales' costume. So in the movie, he's a graffiti artist, which I love. You know, that's awesome. I love the whole crazy art stuff. So I'm into graffiti and spray painting too. So that's like a big plus with me. So in the movie, he spray paints the original Spider-Man suit and with red and black spray paint. So instead of it being blue and red, he has red and black. And I'm gonna show you guys right now the picture what I was going off of. I think it's in here. No, is it? Yeah, here it goes. So in this picture you see right here, I have got the Spider-Man into the Spideyverse whole costume. A picture of it. This was gonna help. This one right here helped me to actually create the Spider-Man logo. So right now all I did basically was zoom in. Let's move around here into the logo information, and then I imported this image into Blender, and then what I did was create the whole thing in Blender. Now it's not exactly 100% alike as this one, but it's very, very, very close. I want to say like I'm probably 90 to 95% accurate on this. You know when you start designing stuff, you start tweaking it to what your preferences is. So bear with me on mine, but this one is actually pretty good. I would tell anybody, you know, I feel like this is a good one. If you guys like it, you know, you can comment or say whatever you want about it. So we're gonna go ahead and open up Blender so I can show you my design, and let's get this pulled up and see right here we have it. And I'm gonna go ahead and we're in orthographic mode already, so I'm gonna press 7 on my keypad, and then here you go. So you guys can see. Now if I press 1, you'll see, well, you can't really see it yet. I have to like zoom in a billion times, but if I just move it over, you can kind of already see Spider-Man's. When I started designing it, I was in front view mode, like how I am right now, so you can see the Spider-Man logo. Now I'm trying to make it a realistic version, so you can obviously see that this one is a lot more bigger compared to what that image is. Now that image is shown super small, so what I had to do was go into measure it tool, and actually get the measurement information for like my chest, because if I want to print this out using like flexible filaments, what I'm thinking, I wanted to make sure that it will be the right size for my chest. So I had to use the measure it tool, to get the information of where my measures or where my information is at. So if I show this, you can see I was using different measuring tool information for each location and stuff. So I'm gonna just hide that. But basically this size is basically it would fit directly on the top of my chest right here. So I have this one set up pretty nice, and then on the bottom side, I'm gonna show you that too, if I can. Hold on. There we go. On the bottom, I have this yellow door thing. It's just a cover plate. I'm going to be using that to actually make some as a cover that will hold all the information in. So I'm gonna hide this really quick, and this was just this is the size of my Arduino Nano. I needed to make it and put it in here just to make sure that the size was right. So in 3D space anyway. So I'm hiding that as well. So you can see in here that I have some holes that are been bowling cut out of the original design. And the reason why I did that is because the fact of the matter is, when I do 3D print this, I'm probably going to be printing it in clear filament, and then I'm going to set it up as RGB lighting. So inside of this, you'll have the ability to use the Arduino Nano to control the accelerometer that controls a switch, and the switch is connected through an NPN transistor. So the switch will be controlled through the transistor, which will sense the on-off of your punch, which will then tell the taser to turn on and off, so then you can actually tase somebody while you're punching them. Now this is really elaborate and very dangerous, so if anybody whatsoever wants to design something like this, you're doing it at your own discretion. I'm not going to be held reliable for any harm that you may and probably will cause yourself. Now granted, I have not caused any harm to myself yet, but that's me, and that this is you. So if you decide to go this route, this is all on you. Now I'm probably gonna be able to put this. I'm not 100% sure. I may go ahead and put this on Thingiverse for you guys to download. So stick to that in the nearby future. But while I'm testing everything out, it just won't be uploaded. I don't upload anything until I know for sure it's finished. So anyway, as you can see in here, I'm going to go into wireframe. You can see that my holes go in. These are for LED strip lights to go in, the RGB I mean. So you'll just slide them in. They're about a little more than 10 millimeters in a width of the circular circumference. So you're going to just slide them right in all the way up until where I couldn't go any further. It's because the way I designed this, I made it kind of flat so it can... I thought this through very intricately. So basically, as you can see right here, let me just go up. These parts, these tentacle legs that come out, they're actually set up to where you would have to, it will go flat. So it goes big in the center to hold all the housing information, and then it goes kind of flat on the outside once it starts coming out. Because I wanted to make sure that when you do mount it on your chest, that if you glue it onto a shirt or like a jumpsuit or a morph suit, whatever you want to call it, for like, cosplaying, it will be able to actually flex. That's why I'm thinking about doing it in flexible filament when I print it out. So I want it to be able to flex and mold towards the side of you. So when you start, let me just go back to this. And so when you start doing it when you place this on you, these parts should flex around the side of your chest area, is what I'm thinking. So I wanted to make sure that the ends, like the tips, start going flush in an angle. So like it's like going from like a 45-degree angle, kind of going up, so it goes pretty thick towards the center, but the outer portions are definitely flat. So. And this piece right here, I just bowlinged together as well. This was just a regular circular portion. and I just was able to map that out. I feel like I did a pretty good job. If we look at the reference picture here, you can see that I kind of modeled out pretty accurately for the most part. I'll just move this over a little bit here. You can see, you know, I got the two, you know, little feeler things. I'm not sure exactly what those are. They're like little teeth that come off a spider. Then you got the 8 legs. This one's a little drippy, so I made this side a little drippy. This one isn't as drippy, so I made that one a little bit, but not a lot. All this was originally mirror modified, but what I did was, after I mirror modified it, I, you know, applied the mirror modifier and then started tweaking the sides on their own. And then I didn't get it. I know how to do it now, but I didn't know that after I mirror modified everything and went into sculpt it mode, that the dripping, I was you know, sculpting over here to get this to drip a little more. I was adding like, you know, extra clay and all that other stuff, and it started coming up over here. Now I figured out how to stop that from happening, so it wouldn't mirror modify it over here on this side. We didn't want it to mirror on this side if you didn't. But then when I thought about it, I was like, it actually looked pretty well. Like, if you could see, like, it looks like paint. So I just like, wow, that was an accident, but it worked out. So I just left it that way. But so let me just check my channel here. Oh, okay. So anyway, the mirror modifier worked out great, and right now that I'm done with this, for the most part, I have, like I said, these 8 lines to going through this, so we'll be able to put in 8 strips of, actually, let me just double check, 1, 2, 6, my bad, 6 strips, no, wait, 8, 9, 10, I'm sorry, 10 strips of LEDs. Now these two are going to be really small because of the fact that this one went kind of small and narrow right here, so this was like the furthest I can get it in. So that was fine with me. I didn't mind. This would probably be like maybe one little strip of LED. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 on that side. And so you can see that you'll be able to put in some nice lighting effect. So if you want to make it red, like it's dark at night, and you're like, oh, I want to light it up or something, you can do that. So in the firmware that I'm going to be designing, you know, the custom code for the Arduino, I'll be able to put in the information to activate the RGB lights and what color light that I want it to produce, and the tasing too. I'm thinking maybe I'll probably, when I want to tase, when I punch, that it will sense the punch, and not only that, but activate like blue LED lighting, so it can give off like a little blue, like thunderbolt type of light, kind of. So I figured that would be pretty nice to do. But anyway, now that I'm done explaining why I'm making these web shooters in Blender, we can go ahead and jump into getting everything set up. So I'm going to go ahead and just get out of here. We don't need to save anything because I didn't do nothing to it. And I'm going to go ahead and start a new one up. Now, there is a little custom information going on. I mean, obviously, when you get your Blender set up, you're not going to have this crazy blue and whatever color in the background, but I'm gonna start off new for the most part. So anyway, first we're gonna want to set up our world view, I believe it is. Let me see, is this it? Here we go. So my units, I like to do millimeters, and that is completely accurate right there. So as soon as you set it to millimeters, your whole world goes small. I don't know if it's point. I think it was supposed to be 3 zeros. 0, 0? No, maybe I'm wrong. Let me double check. Let me just pull up another one. It's hard to remember all of them, man. I'm sorry if it's taking so long, guys. Oh, that's not what I was looking for, but this has the same information as well already on it. So if I go here. So yeah, that was right. Okay, so we're on metric. Oh, that's what I just needed to do. I didn't need to worry about millimeters. I didn't even have to put no presets, I don't think. So let me just get this put up. We'll take it out of millimeters. Well, we can leave it in millimeters. It does metric already. And I need to fix this. Take away one of these zeros. Alright, There we go. And I'm probably just going to go ahead and delete this box for right now. And we're in user perspective mode, I believe is what it is. And we want to go on orthographic. So we have to hit 5 on the number pad, obviously. Like I mentioned, guys, this is all me. Now, if you guys don't like the video, then, you know, I'm sorry, but I'm recording this really for my own preferences so I can see where I'm going and how I'm progressing in Blender. So this is me just vlogging about my Blender problems, I guess. And if you guys, you know, do like the videos, you know, hit that thumbs up. And if you don't, I mean, obviously you can hit the thumbs down button. If you have any, you know, suggestions, definitely comment so I can learn as fast as possible here. But anyway, let's go ahead and go into front view mode here, and then we will go online because we definitely need to do so. So right now I'm going to go on to Google and start searching up what I call is, which I'm pretty sure everybody does. It's called God, what was the name of it? Reference images. That's what it's called. And what that is basically it shows you the front view, the side view, possibly a top view. It gives you all the views so you can design something in 3D space. So what you'll look up is reference images. So if I type in Spider-Man web shooter reference, if I could spell reference right, there it goes, reference image or images. Oh, I'll just do image, it's fine. And then we just go into images here. You may be able to find one. Now I'm not sure because this is very elaborate, so I'm not sure if we will find one specifically. If we can't, we can kind of design our own. I mean, you know, by all means, you could always design your own. Like if you have the ability to draw on a piece of paper or on a tablet, like any of those drawing tablets like the Wacom or the Cintiqs, you know, you got the Wacom tablets, you have the Huron, I forget the name exactly. I have a Lenovo Yoga 720p laptop, the whole Yoga flipper reversible laptop, and that actually has Wacom technology built in. I explained that on another video previously when it comes to Blender tools, but I have that laptop, so I'm able to draw on it just fine. So if I wanted to make my own reference image, I can actually do so, all completely from scratch. But this kind of helps speed up the process because we can just kind of copy the image of somebody else's information. Now I know that's kind of cheating, kind of. I mean, if they don't design it already, then I don't really see you cheating exactly. But see, like right here, you got a reference image. It has the front view, and then, you know, he has his hand, and you can see what it's supposed to look like. But the bad thing about it is it doesn't have a top view or a side view. So when you want to compensate for something like that, I mean, you have other ones. I mean, we could click right here. This one doesn't look too bad. Has nice little an octagon type of connections for the wrist, for the like watch type. So it's not bad at all. And then you have some other ones here. You got people with their templates. But I don't want anything that big. I want something kind of modular, I guess, like a watch looking, not as fat that takes up half your arm, because you got to think also that when you do make something like this, if you are wearing a morph suit, anything you have underneath your, you know, underneath the suit, you're gonna see it bulge out because the morph suit is really compressed against your skin. It's kind of like using any of those weightlifting tight fitted shirts that you can get, you know, the what they call the dry fit type shirts that can reduce sweat, so you don't have to worry about it sticking to your clothes. So you like here, right here, we got another reference, kind of, but it just doesn't have all the views that I would like it to have. So when we start looking for these views here, these are the type of things you want to be looking for, is like the sides that you can model after, because you can import as many images as you want into Blender and have them dedicated to one side. So if we want the front, we can get the front. If we want the right, we can get an image placed only on the right and then drag it over a little bit. So you have those abilities to do that, and I do that a lot when it comes to designing characters. Now I know there's a lot of YouTubers out here that like to design characters just through sculpting. They use like Blender's sculpting tools, and They just, completely design a character from practically nothing. But I'm more of a design it. I mean, I will get into sculpting later on. I mean, I do a little bit here and there when I'm designing my characters, but I try to do a reference image because I want it to kind of match what I am making. So for making Spider-Man, I want to make sure I have a picture of Spider-Man doing it. So it just I feel like it just speeds the process up. And plus, when you start using like sculpting tools and everything, they add a lot of vertices all at once when you start adding them. I mean, you can adjust it however you want, but if you're going low polygons, then you're going to want to make sure that you just start off using a reference image, really. Now, here they have a picture, red shooter prop, but I'm not trying to make a prop. I want to actually, I mean, we are making a prop, but I want to design it, so let's see what we have here. It's kind of hard to know which one you want. They have so many, and then there are some already on Thingiverse. I just don't want to copy anybody's stuff. I'm going to show you really quick, but you can go on Thingiverse and do like Spider-Man. Oh, hold on. Sorry, guys. My typing is terrible, and don't kill me for it. Spider-Man web shooter. And I mean, obviously, you go get a few pulled up. People have made their own versions, obviously, especially like, see right there. That one looks pretty nice. But I'm not trying to copy anybody's stuff. I mean, other than what I'm seeing on a picture here, but even that, we're going to tweak it to what we want it to be. I mean, obviously, the one on here is strictly for web, but I'm putting in a sensor, an accelerometer sensor inside of it, so I already have to tweak the design by myself already, so it's not going to be exactly what they make it to be. So that's the good thing about like references and images and things of that nature, because you can create whatever you want, and as long as you have a good base foundation. So that's what a reference image gives you, is a good foundation to start off with. So I guess really I kind of liked that first one that we first looked at. I feel like that one was like our best one. Now granted, it didn't have all the sides that I wanted to show you, but I can show you what I mean for a reference image here in a moment. I don't really like that one. Where's that other one at? I think it was, here we go. This one doesn't look so bad. I don't like this. I'll probably have to get rid of that. Let me see, anything else just to double check. It's always good to double check because I may have missed something, Yeah, okay, I guess we'll just go with that one. So what I'm gonna do, really simple, is we'll go to this image, just save it. Let's go down to save image as, and I'll just type web shooter. And we're saving it. I'm saving in my pictures just because it just makes things easier. Save. And then we'll go here. We'll go ahead and hit N. You have to hit N on your keyboard to get this pulled up. So you'll be able to see the information. Right here you can see background images. So we'll go down, hit add an image. We'll open up the information. Go to pictures. And then we just downloaded it. Web shooter right here. And there you have it. Now once you import it, it's going to be direct centered of everywhere. So you have your x-axis right here, so that's the bottom line, x, and then the z, and then y would be, front to back. But it's going to be dead center, so if you want to move it up, we will have to go to our image information. And let's see, we have web shooter, fit. No, we don't want to fit. Let's see, what was it? Front, lift. I think it's this one. There we go. So this one controls it on the Z plane, and this will control it on the X plane. Now, we will have to adjust both. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you guys can kind of see this. You see this blue line? I was trying to set up my stuff so I can see better, but this may have not worked out for you guys all that great. I originally started off designing stuff in Tinkercad, so that's why my lines are like bluish, because in Tinkercad the design plane is pretty much like a baby blue color. So I originally had like blue and white just to imitate Thinkercad, so I can kind of just feel like I'm at home with it. But then I kind of just went my own route with everything, and then this is what I came up with for my background. But so we go ahead and just lift this up. Now I don't know how long this video is gonna be. So if you guys are, obviously if you want to check back in later about it, that's cool. I don't know if anybody's been messaging. I'm gonna have to check that out here in a minute. But see, right now what I'm trying to do is measure. We got this on the 0 plane here. This is on floor. Like, so if we had like a floor on the bottom here, this would be dead center on the floor, because you can see down here we have this blue, dark blue line connected to this white line. So, and right here you can see this line coming in is the dead center, and you can even see it with this circle, this little line right here. So we want to make sure that this web shooter information is actually set up properly. So we want to move it over a little bit more, but see, it moves a little too much. So I'm going to just click on here. If that's 2.6, let's try 2.5. Okay, that's still a little too much. 2.4, 2.3. Shoot, it may even just be 2 or 2.1. Let's try 2. Okay, maybe a 1.9. Okay, see, when it comes to stuff like this, I try to be very, very accurate, because I want to make sure that I'm designing as close as possible to the reference image. You always want to make sure you're as close as possible. It doesn't even look like it moved. Okay, that's why I have to hit enter. My mistake, guys. 2.5, no. 2.4. Okay, that's a little too much. So we need to do 2.6. 2.59? No, 2.5. Let me see. 2.55. Too much. 0.59, maybe? Yeah, that looks pretty good. I mean, it's a little bit off, but I'll give that a good pass. Now that we have a reference image on there, now you may say, okay, well, yeah, that looks good, it's in the center, but the image is, not bright enough for me or something, right? Maybe you think this isn't bright enough. You can change the opacity. What the opacity means is the ability to see something on here. So you can actually make it damn near invisible, or you can bring it up to where it's super bright. So I'm going to give a little bright, but not too much. I don't need it fully white, because I want to be able to see through it a little bit. Okay, so now that we have that, we can start making our image and start modeling everything up. So we're in object mode right now, and we're going to get a lot going on. So first I'm going to hit display, move this out a little bit, and this design is going to be on all sides. So if we go to this side, it's going to show this is the right orthographic mode, and then top orthographic mode, you're still going to see the information. You can move it down in this mode here if you want, but it doesn't really matter. And since we don't have another side reference image, I can't show you that information just yet. Maybe on another video later or something, but for right now we're just sticking with what we got. So in display, I'm not sure if you guys did so yet or not, but if you go into your preferences, user preferences, you can go into inputs or add-ons, and then you'll just find your measure it tool. If you just search in here, it's called measure it. So literally it's just measure and then it right afterwards. And you'll want to have that installed. Once you do, you'll have this tool pop up in your display tab. So if you go to measure it configuration, you can actually set up the information. So since I work in XYZ plane practically every day of the week, I use those specific colors to map out, so I know exactly what area those measure locations are. So if I'm going to do my X, which usually I start off with my X first, um, it'll be red. And then if I'm in the Z, it will be blue. And then if I am in the Y plane, I'm in green. So I'm starting off with red. And then what we're going to do is I want my size of my lettering to be 50 because I feel like 50 is a good uh, thick, bold size that I can look at my information whether I'm zooming in or zooming out wherever I'm at. So I set mine to 50, and then that's for the text size. And then you can separate the information from your original coordinates that you're looking at away from the object. This right here is like a 0.1 millimeter away, I guess. But I'm going to leave it that way for now so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So first, let's go ahead and do a Shift A, and then we're going to add a cube. Now, granted, we just got rid of the cube, but I want to go ahead and add it now because now I need it. And now you don't see the cube anywhere, and that's because the cube is like all the way the heck out here somewhere. So what you're going to do is hit Scale, hit S, and then we're going to scale the cube down. Scale again, scale the cube down. You see why I got this weird gray background is because the cube is so massively big. So we're going to scale it down, and then there you have it. Now you can see that you have a cube. So we're going to bring the cube up. We're going to do a Z so we can see wireframe. And I use these arrows here so I'll make sure I'm exactly in the right position. Anytime that you have your cursor information set up, this is exactly where the cube and all your information will go to, so it's dead center. Then we just drag up the cube on the Z plane to where you want it at. So since this is still a little too big, we're going to scale down just a little more to kind of fit the overall box shape of the web shooter. So we're going to draw the line up a little bit right here. And now you can scale this on each individual plane if you want to. So let's say we want to just make this portion. We can do Scale S, and then we hit X, and that will be only on the X axis, and then we can bring it in. So right about there. Now you have it on the X. So if I hit Z again, you can see that it's only fitting this portion here. And we can still move it up. I'm going to move, well, actually, I'm going to leave it that right there. And we'll just hit Scale and then Z so we can kind of bring it out a little bit. There we go. So that looks pretty much like our reference image shape for the most part. Now, granted, we have to bring this side in and that side in and do all this extra stuff, but for the most part, our box shape is actually looking pretty well. Now, I'm not sure how big this actually is, so what we're going to do is measure everything out. So we can go and just measure everything out by going off to the side. We're going to have to hit Tab, or you can go here and hit Edit Mode. So if I hit Tab, you're already in Edit Mode. And we're going to go ahead and hit our edge selections, and we're going to double tap A because everything was selected. We only want to select the one edge. So right now we're going to be on the red. So with me being on red, that's X axis. So we're going to do the front, and all I have to do now that I have everything set up, I have 50 for my text size, and then the separation is just, you know, wherever it was at when I first started out with. And now all we have to do is hit segment, and there you go. Now you don't see anything, right? And that's because we're not showing it yet. But once you hit segment, if you scroll all the way down past your reference image information, you will see that we already have it set up here. And we're going to want to do this in millimeters. See, originally it's at meters. We're going to want to do millimeters, because if we don't, I'm going to show you what's going to happen. We're going to hit show. Now it's showing meters. So this is 0.0 meters. Why? Because a meter is super long. It's like equivalent to feet, or maybe even a yard, or whatever you want to call it. All I know is it's super long. If you go down to millimeters, which we're working with, at least that's what I tried to work with for everything, and I use a caliper too, so yes, I do cheat. I'm gonna have to, so I can know, like, my wrist. I have to, like, measure out my wrist and everything to make sure that the web shooter actually mounts onto it properly like a wristband. So We will be using a caliper. This I got from Pittsburgh. Well, it's Pittsburgh brand, but I got it from Harbor Freight. Anyway, we're going to switch to millimeters here. And then now you can see millimeter, mm, is 1.53 of a millimeter. And that's great. I mean, for now. We don't care exactly at the very moment of what the web shooter size is. We're just setting these up for later on. And I'm going to explain why I'm doing this here once I'm done getting everything set up. So now that we have the x-axis set up, we're going to go over to our y. So since we're in this view mode at the moment, we're still in orthographic, but I just scrolled over to the side a little bit so I could see each plane. And now we just do it again. I went to green since I'm on the y, and then we hit segment, and there you go. And if you don't want to show anything, you just hit hide, and then it shows nothing. And like I mentioned, you can still tweak everything still if you hit settings. If you want your information out further away from your part, you can just grab, I think it's this one. Is that? Yeah, no, that's not it. That's hold on. There we go. Distance. Here we go. I'm sorry. Well, actually, I kind of like my stuff right around there. I'm gonna move it over just a tad. There we go. So that one's on the Z plane. And then for this one, I'm gonna move it down a little bit. This one is, I mean, that was on the X plane. This is the Z. So we'll just do that to go down. So now you can kind of see where it's at. And then we'll do the same thing with this side, but this one is on the Z, so we'll make that blue. And there you go. So we have another one down here for blue. It kind of looks purple, don't it? But it's blue, I guess. So I'm going to move that one over a little bit too so I can see it pretty well. So now we know what our sizes are. We have 2.5 millimeters tall, and then 2.44 of the length, or the width, I guess, or the thickness. And then for the length on the X, we're at 1.53. And then the thickness would be 2.44, so on the Y. So that's us getting everything set up. Now we can just go ahead and hide this for later. And the reason why I'm not really using it just yet is because our reference image is ultra small. Now granted, we could have fit it to be the screen or whatever, but even that, we still would have had to scale it. I don't know exactly how I would do this. I would have to probably do a lot of research on this portion, but there should be a way for you to scale up your reference image to the exact proportions that you want to use. But since we don't know where my proportions are going, because I have no clue whatsoever, I figured we can just get everything set up for later on when we want to scale everything up to the masses that we want. But for now, we just want to design the item first. So I'm going to go ahead and hide that. And since everything is looking pretty good already, we're already in edit mode. So we have our line selected, so we're going to deselect it and then reselect everything so you can see everything. See, all that highlighted information is the box that we have. So what I'm going to do, first we're going to go ahead and add a modifier. So I add a modifier really quick for all my stuff. So this is like always my next step. We add a modifier. We're going to do a mirror modifier, but we're not going to, hold on, we're not going to do it just yet. First, let's select everything, Control R for a loop cut, and then we'll just double click and that will get us dead center. The reason why I do this is because I'm going to turn on information here in a moment. We're going to deselect that, hit B to select all these vertices and lines on this side. So I'm going to do select all the vertices, so we'll do individual vertices instead of our edge loops, our edges. And I'm going to hit B, grab everything. So that's everything grabbed. Then we're going to hit X to delete everything. We'll delete the vertices. Now, if we do the Z, we're going to see that there's a complete open box inside of here. And that's good for what we need right now. The reason why I'm showing you guys this is because I want you to see what I'm doing. Now, this probably just threw off everything, because if we unhide everything, oh no, everything's still right. That's good. Okay. So yeah, everything's still fine. I wasn't sure if that was going to throw off our measurements or not, but it's fine. Thank goodness. Anyway, so we're going to go back to front view by pressing 1. And right now I'm gonna go ahead and do our mirror modifier. So we're gonna go down to mirror modifier, and there you have it. Now you can see, now that we mirrored everything, it's the same exact location everywhere around. So we have the box. But say if you want to make an adjustment or something later on, we're gonna hit this right here. This is adjust edge cage to modifier result. So that would be where we're adding our vertices on each side, even because right now you can see that the mirror is mirroring this information, but it's not mirroring the edges or your vertices. So if we hit that, it will do so. So you can see that. And then if we did need to select the vertice, you can select it, but it'll come up over here. So, I mean, you have to take that into consideration. I'm also going to turn on clipping. What clipping does, it allows us not to make this happen where the box opens up in the center. You won't be able to move any vertices on the middle plane. So if we do Control Z to undo that, if we turn on clipping, you won't be able to move it at all. So that will keep it from us separating the whole object apart. So now that we have that, we're gonna go ahead and deselect that, and I want to start modeling out everything. So me, I tend to try to model as best I can. I want to say, I'm not gonna say I'm great at this, so just, you know, it's gonna be one of those long dragged out videos, guys, that I'm gonna be trying to figure out everything. And you know, this is just to help me speed up, and hopefully you guys are watching this so you guys see where I'm running into. And if you have any questions, which let me just double check that's really quick. I only have one person viewing, so I don't see anybody else talking or saying anything. And let me just go down here and we'll check out my popped outs. Yeah, nothing. Okay, cool. Alright, anyway. Actually, yeah, I won't, because it's gonna do it anyway. We're gonna go ahead and start modeling here. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit A to select everything. We're gonna do another edge loop. So Control R, and then once that purple line comes up, you'll see it. Now if you push your scroll wheel on your mouse up, you'll be able to do 2 edge loops. So we want to kind of copy both of these here. So if you see 1 and then 2 and then the third line, that means we're gonna need 2 lines for the center, I feel like, anyway. So if we do it this way, there we go, we have 2 more edge loops. Now this is what we call these polygons, or low poly. It's because we're not adding a whole bunch of edge loops here, and we're not doing a lot of like bowlings and all kind of crazy, you know, adding a whole bunch of vertices here that you don't need. And then we're gonna do another loop cut, but this time we're gonna do it on the Z plane. I mean the X plane. We're on the Z, now we're doing X. So I kind of want to get it set up to match those. 1, 2. Actually, you know what? We'll do 2 for now. And then if we need to add more later, we will. So right now we have all of these, and if we do Control Select, I believe. If I do, oh wait, what is it? Alt, Control Alt Select. Shoot, so I should be able to grab each. There we go. Deselect and then select that. No. Alright, we'll just select all. Shift. There should have been a way to select everything. Maybe I'm just not remembering the hotkey for it. Okay, I think that did it. Let's just get out of that. Move around. We're missing this one. So now we're gonna, now that we have this whole edge selected, we're gonna go ahead and hit G to move everything around. We're gonna type G twice because I just want to lift this up, and then we're gonna hit right about here, Let's just double check that. Yeah, right there seems pretty good. Because that's where the 2 points right here intersect. And then I'm going to do the same thing for this bottom one here. So if I could just remember that hotkey, I feel like it's around here somewhere. See, that one's like selecting everything. I don't know why it's doing that. Let's just select it all. It's fine. I don't care. I'll figure out the hotkey later. Anyway, Z mode, GG. Bring it up. There we go. Actually, bring it down just a little more. Right about there. The drawing in the reference image is a little obscured, I wanted to say, but it's fine. So for this, now we're going to start modeling. I'm going to start at the top here. We'll start at the top and work our way down. So obviously you can see here that we have a curve going on. Now there's plenty of ways you can go about this. Let's dismiss that. There's plenty of ways you can go about this. You can either grab the lines up here and then kind of like drag it down. If we want to grab the whole entire edge or face, whatever you want to call it, we can just bring it down and then it will start already curving to that shape. So that did already pretty good already by itself. Now you can do it that way, or you can add a Boolean modifier where you just get like a circular sphere and then have it Boolean cut out this circular sphere part. But I'm going to stick to the reference image and just do it this way. Anyway, now that we have that looks actually pretty good. Now we can add another vertex here and another edge here, another edge here. Then bring it down to kind of make it even more curved since it's kind of boxy. You know, it kind of looks like a little V shape going on right here, but we want it kind of curvular. So we'll deselect everything, add another loop cut. Now you could just cut it out, but since you already have this center circular deal here, I guess for the web cartridge, that actually lined up perfectly with it, so we're just gonna go ahead and do the whole thing. And now that we have that, we can double click and then hit A, bring this down. If I can just click on it, there we go. So we have that one, and then if we go up, select that one and this one, back to front. Well, actually, you know what? We're not going to want to do the whole edge. Let me just deselect all that. My mistake, guys. You're going to want to go to vertices, because if we move that, it's going to move everything down. We just want to move this top vertice down. So with you being in front view, we can just select those vertices in wireframe mode, all of them, all the way through to the back, so all the way back here, by hitting wireframe, then B, and then selecting everything, and then we can just move that vertex down a little bit. And the same thing with the center here. We can deselect, B, move everything down. So that looks pretty good. And then, like I said, for the middle part here, we can do that again. Control R, double click, deselect everything, select everything again. Well, at least these vertices with B, and then kind of shape out what we need here. So B, I'm gonna bring this one up just a tad. It's kind of not curved enough. There we go. And then just deselect all that. I'm gonna bring this one over a little bit and bring it up a little bit, maybe a little over, a little bit more. There we go. That looks pretty good. And then for this one's a little bit of a tricky area, because we're gonna be trying to make this slant then goes down, so we can just do it this way and bring it over. That actually looks pretty good. I guess I should stay with that way. I mean, over here, like I said, the reference image isn't proportionally drawn out right, so you're just gonna have to make do with it as best you can, I guess. But looking pretty good so far. I'm liking it already, and we only got into a few minutes of this here. And then for this one, now that we have that selected and set up, we're going to deselect, grab this. I want to kind of move some stuff around a little bit here to kind of match up the picture image. There we go. So right about there. And then so we have our reference image for the most part kind of set up right. And then for this one, we're going to have to actually move all these vertices over, or we can just delete them all if we wanted to. Say if you don't want these boxes, but then we're gonna be making issues. So normally I'm just gonna leave them alone. I'll just select, grab everything here, just move them over slightly so they'll be kind of out of the way, but not really, because we want to make this V shape. So if we just do that for all of them, I'll try to speed this up now. Give them a good gap between each one. We want to kind of have the same gap, so that looks kind of evenly spaced out. And then we're going to bring everything over a little bit here, bring everything over a little bit here. And I've been watching a lot of YouTuber guys like Johan Sculpts or whatever. He's pretty good. I like his stuff. He's very educational. Hopefully one day I can get like that. If you guys are hating this, I'm sorry. But there we go. So that looks pretty good. So I already pretty much have the image set up for the most part for just the beginning part of the web shooter. And then since this one is kind of too high, we're gonna go ahead and select all the bottom ones and then just drag them up a little bit. And I want to move this over just a tad right there, bring it up a little bit. I don't know if I should have done all of them. I don't know if I'm gonna have a curve right here. I kind of feel like I should, but I don't know. Maybe I'll just bring all of them back up a little bit more. I kind of like that boxy look. I mean, the web shooter curved would be pretty cool too. Let me know in the comments, guys, if you rather me curve this back end or have it boxy. I kind of like the boxy though, I'm not gonna lie. And now that we're done with that, let's go ahead and do A, B, grab, drag. I'm gonna drag this over here. And then this one was kind of high. Well, we're gonna move. I want to move some of this over here. Oh, wrong button. A, B. I don't know if I grabbed it. There we go. Move that over. And we'll move it up and over a little bit too. But see, this kind of throws some stuff off, you can see, right? So, I mean, we have different options for this. I don't know if I should do it that way. Maybe I'll just leave it like that. And bring that back up. I mean, it's not really affecting anything, I don't think. And we can always double check our work. So, yeah, it doesn't look like it's really affecting anything, to be honest. So, I guess I'll leave it that way. If we need to, we can always sculpt that portion out. We'll just have to add a lot of vertices at that time. But like I mentioned, we're just trying to get our reference image set up first. So there's a lot of stuff you can tweak later on, and we can always add this information later as well. And the reason why I'm selecting all these, because I want to bring this up a little bit. Now I know I have my reference image over here, because we're going to extrude this out here in a minute. So what I'll do is deselect that and just get these right here. We'll leave that vertex alone and bring this up. And that actually kind of worked out because this portion right here is kind of slanted already. But see how this is? This kind of looks like it's going... If I was looking at the reference image, I'm pretty sure this black mark is an indent. So it actually goes down into the object. So for that, we would have to do our y-axis on this side, because this is going to go inward a little bit because of this indent right here. We're going to have to push this side out. So if you're looking at it this way, these go backwards because we're going to indent that information in. So it's completely up to you at the very moment. I'm not going to do it just yet. First, I'm going to get this vertice set up. So I want to move this one over, and we're just going to create another one on this side. So A to deselect. We're going to grab B, move that in a little bit. And we'll do, actually, you know what? I'm going to do both. Select, B, all these vertices from down to over here. Remove that whole portion in a little bit here, because we're going to do another loop, because this will help with getting everything set up, I feel like, since we're going downward. So A, then we'll go ahead and control R. Probably going to need 2, because I want to kind of make sure we map that out correctly. So we'll do 2, and we'll bring this guy up and over a little bit. Actually, both of them, because we want to make sure everything's being mapped out accordingly. It's always better to make sure your loops and everything is looking accurate. So we're gonna do A, B, grab. I do a lot of A, B-ing, guys, so if you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. Let's just bring it up to the same length, and then we'll do this one as well, but we're gonna bring this one down and over to about there. I feel like that's a pretty good spot for it. And then see, these vertices will go inward, and these two will stay out, so that's good. And then we can go ahead and do we'll go ahead and extrude out for this one right here already. Since we got the most out of this area already, we'll go ahead and hit extrude for this one. Now you can cut this portion out using a knife tool, and that kind of would help out if you're going to be sculpting this out, which I will do later on. This video is just going to be me getting this portion set up, and then I'll get back into live streaming again and then get the other one set up as well. So bear with me on all this, guys. I don't see any videos, only me doing this, so that's cool, whatever. I know I'm not a very big popular YouTuber, so it's fine. And since we're on the cube, I'm going to rename this Spider. Keep writing it wrong. I don't know why I keep wanting to put the R. Spider Web Shooter. Now, we'll go ahead and get to our regular mode here, and then we're just going to slightly go over to the side. We'll go ahead and select face, grab this face here, go back to this side, and then we'll go ahead and hit E to extrude out. And right about here, I guess. Let's just check. Yeah, that looks kind of good. I feel like it needs, I mean, we're going to scale it down, no doubt, but I feel like it needs to be tilted a little bit. I don't know, maybe it's just a drawing, but it kind of looks slanted a little. So we'll go ahead and rotate a little bit back to kind of line that up. Now we'll go ahead and hit 3 so we can zoom, and then we'll go ahead and hit S to scale. Actually, you know what? Let me go back to the 1. I should scale on the top. So S and Z to scale on the Z plane. And that'll get us down a little bit. That's a little too much. If we bring this up a little bit, there we go. I'm sorry about the noise in the background. It's my daughter making noise. Anyway, S and Z again. I'm just trying to get this proportion as possible. And then we're going to go ahead and extrude one more time. So we made one extrusion. Now we're going to do another one for this portion here. So E to extrude. And then we're going to have to rotate a little bit again, it seems like. A little too much. That should do it. Then S and Z again, bring it down. If you just bring it in close, it brings it down a little bit. And I would say right about here looks pretty good. I want to back it up just a little bit. That looks good. Alright. So now we have that whole thing set up. So from a box to this looks pretty well, to be honest. I like it already. And let me just go to the side here and see what this is looking like. Yeah, not too shabby. Now we can, which I'm probably going to go ahead and just do, is bring in these vertices to kind of bring them back. So if we do A to deselect that side and then select only the vertices that we need. Let's go ahead and go back to wireframe mode. Sorry about that, guys. No, I don't need this up right now. And no, I don't need you on. Exit. Now, for the vertices, I'm gonna hit B, grab all this, and if you keep hitting B, it'll select everything for you. You don't have to hold shift or anything. I don't know if anybody really knows that, but yeah, that's definitely a true statement. Now we're gonna go to Z, 7 for the top view, I'm sorry. And then we're gonna scale it down, scale on the Y. So we hit Y, and that will scale us on the Y plane. That'll help bring in our web shooter's indent. And so if we go back to our regular view mode, you can see that it indented everything pretty nicely. So if we go back to 1 and hit Z again, see that those two indented, so that already needed to be indented. So let me just double check. Yeah, it looks pretty good, not bad at all. Now granted, this is a little more boxy than I wanted. I feel like this portion should be curved. So to compensate, we'll just go ahead and hit Control R and then double click. Now if we go to, let me see, we'll do a loop. There we go. That's right. Deselect that, grab our edge. So if you just do this edge right here, go back to the top, scale on the Y. That'll bring us in just a little bit of a curve right there. That's all we really needed. So that helped curved us out for that little indent portion. So we got a nice little curve going on for that. So that'll help out a lot when we start sculpting and stuff. So any little details like that helps out with your vertices and sculpting in sculpt mode. At least that's what I've heard and seen with my own experience. So right now it looks pretty well made. I don't see anything too wrong with it. We can change up the color if we wanted to, just to, you know, add a little fun to this. So if we do new and let's go to color mode, let's do red for web shooter. We'll make it a little brighter, and intensity we'll make it really nice. Intensity, well, Lambert is okay, I don't mind it. So yeah, that doesn't look too bad at all, guys. I'm already liking it a lot. And then so but first I want to make sure, because I know for sure that we're gonna make this kind of flat, but I'm not exactly sure how flat we need it. So that's the reference image problem that we would face. But it's still looking really nice. I like it. And just double check everything really quick, because when it comes to this stuff, you always want to double check your work. Yeah, it looks nice. Okay, so for clips, if we're gonna do, I'm trying to figure out how I want to set this up exactly. Now I'm probably not going to be designing this portion here, because we're not actually adding web shooters. I was just trying to get this portion made, but I want to add some kind of attachment, because what I want to do is use some kind of like elastic wristband type that'll just strap to your arm. So We're probably going to need to make some kind of holders on each side. Well, since we're mirrored, we only need to make it on one. But I feel like if I added some kind of holder on the side here, we'll be able to loop in, as a connector piece, kind of like how watches have, like some watches have. So how we're going to do that, we can extrude out again, I would feel like we should do, and then just, there's so many ways to go about it. So I'm just going to extrude out on that side, hit E to extrude, and that's not too bad. And then what we can do is deselect everything, and we'll add to this one and the back, and then we'll go back to the front view. Then we'll do I to inset. It's not doing it. Oh god. Undo that. What if we do this one? Alright. Or let's do all the vertices. Maybe that'll help. I to inset. Maybe I got this wrong. I don't know. Oh, okay. I selected everything I shouldn't have. We just want these vertices here. That face and this face. Now we hit I to inset. Am I even doing this right? Oh god. Why is it grabbing everything? Okay. Okay. See, these are the problems I'll be running into. My only conclusion for this would be to just do the front. I to inset. I'm surprised that it's not allowing me to do it. Is it working? It's hard to know. Alright. That's strange. I have to zoom in here, I guess. I don't know what's going on. Come on, inset. Let's do this. Oh, wait. You know what? If I hit I to inset and then hit S to scale. There we go. Now we can see it. That's better. Now, what we're going to do is... I should have probably did that on both sides, now that I think about it. Maybe I could now. No, I don't think it will let me. That one's a puzzler. I mean, really, if once I get to this point, I'm just looking at bowling and everything, but I don't want to do that. I'm trying to stay away from doing too many bowlings, so I'm not trying to cut everything out. I to inset, S to scale, bring the inset down. We could just do it to the same other portion over here. I to inset. Oh wait, let's deselect everything. Now A click. Let's do backwards mode. Front's back. There we go. Now we do I to inset, S to scale, and then what we could do is delete the face. I feel like that will probably be my best bet right about this at this very moment. So what that's gonna do is if we go to faces, and we're already selected on this one, we hit X and then we'll delete the face. And we're gonna do the same thing for this side. click on this one, X, delete the face. Now we can see all the way through it, right? And that's good. So now if we just hit our edges, we want to just do this, F to face. Now we face the edge. So now we're cut all the way through. There we go. That works. And then let's deselect everything, grab that edge and this edge, F to face, and then grab that, and this up here, F to face, and then same thing on this side. 1, 2, 3. Let's grab that if I can. 4. Alright, F. So there you have it. So now we have a complete hole all the way through, and it's completely box faced in. And then we can bring this out a little bit so we can make sure that this side has some, you know, I want to say thickness when we put in the belt to, well, the elastic strap. There. Fuck. Alright. Anyway, when we put the elastic strap inside of there, we want to make sure that it has something to really hold on to, because the elasticity will put a lot of tension on this portion here when it's trying to be pulled. So we want to make sure that it has some thickness to it. And that will help when we're printing too, because if we make it thick enough, then we can just make sure that the sides are probably, like me, I try to stay within like a 2mm range. I'm bring that in just a little more. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And on top of that, if we want to kind of round this out a little bit, we can just, everything is deselected except for that one and this one, and then we can just scale this in a little bit. Scale on the Z-axis plane, and then we can bring it in a little. Well, not that one. Well, yeah, that's right. Well, no, wait. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Oh no, hold on. That's right, because it doesn't have another face in the center. See, if we're trying to curve that to make it look good, we'll need to add another loop cut. So let's undo the move. Oh no, we want that one. So SZ. There we go. That looks better. And now deselect and then Control R. And then we have a loop cut right there. Actually, no, I'm gonna do about 3 loop cuts right here. That looks pretty good. Well, let's do another one. 4. 4 should be good. And now what we can do is we can shape the corners here. So if we grab that one, we'll pull this in. You can see now we kind of got like this little circular motion going on. So kind of curve it out. There we go. And then grab that one. I'm gonna bring that in just a tad. And then this same thing goes for these on the insides. We can actually curve these out a little bit too. Kind of make them a little fatter if we want. You know, that kind of would help out a little bit. And then down here, this portion down here, we can go this way. Kind of match them up. I mean, it doesn't have to be completely perfect. We just trying to get it to kind of look accurate for the most part. And then we can go to the center. Oops, there we go. Bring that out. Same thing with this guy. Bring this out right here, and then we're gonna do the center over here. Bring this out. And bring this guy out. So kind of see we're getting this curvular shape going on, which I like. And yeah, that looks pretty good. So now we have something we can actually put our strap into. I feel like this portion needs to probably come in a little bit, so we're gonna deselect everything and grab this face right here, put it right there. My mouse is getting a little dead. That's great. I'll have to just plug that in a little bit. We'll bring this in just a tad. There we go. So yeah, that looks pretty good. I like that. Well, guys, I'm gonna stop this portion now. This live stream was brought to you by Lee Velez, legit Lee here. And hopefully you guys are learning something. I feel like we should probably get this pulled in a little bit, to be honest. I'm going to do that on the next video, though. I have to go here in a minute because I got to go pick up my son from school. Or at least from his bus stop, anyway. But yeah, it's looking pretty good, guys. I hope you guys are liking the video. Please like, subscribe, share. Let me know what you guys think. So, like, share as in message me here and you know, give me some helpful tips and tricks if you have them available for to you for me if you can. But I think I'm doing a pretty well job for somebody that's still, I'm not gonna say I'm complete beginner, as I know a good amount. So yeah, that was my alarm. So yeah, guys, I hope you guys are liking the video. Like I mentioned, like, subscribe, let me know what you think, and I'll be back probably within the next half hour or so. Just give me a little time. I'm gonna keep working on this here so we can see what we can create using Spider-Man's information and his little gauntlet stuff. My name is Legit Lee, and I'm signing out.